right, Shalom.
Shalom.
Before we begin this lesson, I want to give all honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Bahasham,
Bashem,
Yahweh Shai,
Yahushai,
Bahasham,
Bashem,
Racha,
Racha, Kodash.
Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles, great millstone we learned this truth from, the real prophets and leaders of all Israel in these end times. Shalom to you, Israelites on the highways and hedges, giving up your body as a living sacrifice. Shalom to you, brothers, man. Shalom to you, Akwaf in order. You Israelite sisters that are in order, Shalom. Shalom to you Israelites scattered abroad. It may look like these other nations, but you see language back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, making you a Hebrew Israelite. Shalom. All right, as you see in the title of this lesson, it says, the accuser of the brethren is going hard against you, Jakes. Now, for those that don't know, Jake is short for Jacob. Okay, that's why we say Jakes. The accuser of the brethren is a scripture in Revelations chapter 12, I believe it is. And this is speaking about Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, starting with their elites. Okay, because what they do is through their sorcery, their media, their propaganda, TV shows, whatever, whatever they have on the airwaves, because he's the prince and power of the air. But what they do is they portray our people, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, to be the world's problem. Because as society is breaking down, and you got problems left, right, if coming from all direction in this world in these end times, these heathen are looking for somebody to blame. And we saw through the C-19 pandemic that their propaganda, you see how well the propaganda works on the minds of the simple. And the thing is, you got to understand that most people in this world are very simple. They're too far gone and they believe everything they see, man. Scripture speak about how the simple believeth every word. As a matter of fact, let me write that down so I don't forget. But because I want to bring that out later, man. Because this is what's happening on a large scale. Right? So what's happening on a large scale is Esau's propaganda works like a charm on these people. Hence the reason why they were queuing up to stick out their arm and seek the devil for help. Now, this is the reason why this man has to be destroyed. Okay, and the scriptures say that that's going to happen because it speaks about how the accuser of the brethren is going to be cast out. What's this one here? Okay. All right. So to start this lesson off, I got a clip I want to play because it's a pure example of what Esau is doing in these end times, how he's going hard to try to accuse us and paint us out to be the problem in the world, man. And as of late, you have the Homeland Security on their Twitter page had released a video about YNs and how they were planning to help put a bounty out on ICE because the cartel in Mexico, I believe it is, they put out a bounty. What was it, like 5 million or 50 million or 50,000?
Some ridiculous
$500,000 or something like that. It was five something, but they put out a large, ridiculous amount of money as a bounty on the heads of certain ICE officials, I believe it was. And ever since then, the devil seized the opportunity to use it as a way to accuse us, and there's been many examples of this, man, how they constantly try to twist the narrative to try to make it out like Jake is the problem. Now, don't get me wrong, YNs are a problem, and we can't wait for the Lord to come and do away with 2/3 of our people also, because they've had their chance to repent, and the Lord is more than proven through patience and long suffering that these people aren't going to get right. So they have to be left behind here when the Lord hits the reset button. Okay, so they're not innocent, and we don't represent them. So when we say that the kingdom of heaven is for the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, we ain't got these YNs in mind. Okay, we're not for all of our people, man. We only are doing this and bringing out these lessons for the elect, just to make that clear. But anyway, before I ramble, without further ado, let me go ahead and play this video. Okay, am I sharing the screen already? Oh, okay, so share screen. Let's go back to it. And all right. Now, Lord willing, this comes out clear because we're kind of experimenting. Last time I did a live, my microphone broke, so we're actually we both having one headphone each, and we've done a test and it seemed to work okay. So Lord willing, this comes out nice and clear. Now I want to play this, and you'll see a link in the live feed, in the live comment board. I put a link to this video we're about to play here, and we're gonna pause it here and there and do a bit of commentary on it. So check this out.
Security. So over the weekend, they posted a tweet, and this is literally what they posted. Okay, this is the tweet right here. Okay, all right, that's the tweet. Now I want y'all to play the video.
So this is the YNs and the actual tweet that Homeland Security put out. It says FAFO, and if you don't know what that means, it means F around and find out, right? It says, if you threaten or lay hands on our law enforcement officers, we will hunt you down and you will find out really quick. We'll see you cowards soon. Now, this is a threat to Jake, basically, because Homeland Security knew that this wasn't the original video. This is a video that they edited in order to accuse, the brethren, in order to accuse Jacob. So this is what they're saying. We'll see you soon, cowards. Now, this is basically saying that we're using this edited footage that we edited to come after you, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, because they know, the elites, their elites know that we are the biblical Israelites, okay? And what it all comes down to is Esau trying to find a way to get his birthright back, because he hates the idea of us ruling the whole world, because this is what he thinks. When he sees YNs, he's thinking that the world's just going to be full of little nigglets running around with dreadlocks, killing each other, bumping rap music all around the world, and selling drugs and guns and stuff. This is the kingdom of heaven that he thinks in his mind, man. But the earth is going to be nothing like that. Because like I said, 2/3 getting ready to be cut off on this side, man.
That they actually posted. You have that? Let's play the video.
Blessed that these hoes on my dick cause I'm fly like a jet. They gonna be surprised when they see I made this beat, baby Chief and Kanye West. As long as the hoe outside with the zoo shit never see home. 26.
Now that was the video. The video. So again, DHS talking about they are threatening law enforcement. Here's the problem. That was an altered video. This is actually the original video that was posted on TikTok.
Police steady watching me. Every day they clocking me. Red alert. I'm the dangerous. I keep that clock on me. And they ain't looking for no trouble. I'm just looking out for me.
So as you can see that Esau is the deceiver. He stays deceiving, man. Okay. Now the scriptures speak about how in Psalms 58:3 that these people are liars as soon as they come out of the womb, right? So they're born liars, natural born liars, and this is part of their lies, man, their deception, because they're the people that are deceiving the whole world. They're the devil, okay, which was prophesied to. They were prophesied to be in rulership and deceive the whole world until the day of the Lord, when the Lord takes them out of power. Okay, so that's what's going on right now, and this is part of their deception because they're using AI as a tool to deceive the world. Now, AI is a creation that, was thought of by the Lord. It was going to create, anything created is of the Lord. But these people use it on the left-hand side. They use their technology that could be used for good, could be used for the betterment of humanity. They use it for wickedness. They use it to deceive. They use it as a weapon, okay? Because Esau was blessed with the sword. Now, in this particular case, they've altered this video as far as they've changed the music. They've taken people out of the video that were originally part of the video. They fully went hard to manipulate this video. It's not just some simple little, like they changed the words. No, they actually took the video and edited. They went to town on it, man. Okay, so for them to tweet what they tweeted is just basically them saying, playing on the world's ignorance and saying that we hate you and we're going to wage war on you, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, mainly the so-called blacks, the tribe of Judah. That's their main target. Anyway, let me continue.
The original was talking about Iran.
See? So originally they were talking about, come on, Iran, try it if you want. We're Americans. These YNs, they don't know what's going on. They're out here trying to, they think they're Americans, right? Because they refuse the knowledge that the Lord is offering them, the truth.
Yeah, and I think it's also that was around the time when Iran was attacking Israel.
Yeah.
And then America responded, and then those guys made that video to say, yeah, look what we can do, Iran. Yeah, we want all the smoke. Try that, bomb it on us. Do you know what I mean?
Jake's simple, man.
And then obviously they've edited the video to make it seem like you're going at Jake wants to go after
ICE.
DHS. Yeah, ICE.
Yeah. So
it's wicked, man.
And they're only appeasing to the they're only playing on the emotions of MAGA, and the far right, quote unquote, because these racist devils, the elites, they deal with psychology and they know exactly how the lower Edomite of their nation is. They know that these people are racist as hell, they're stupid as hell, and they believe everything they see because they're simple. Like scriptures say, the simple believeth every word, right? So they altered it in such a way that they knew it was going to cause a reaction, because ultimately they want to get it popping. They want that race war, which is going to happen. Okay, but this is all part of the build up to that ultimate moment, man, because there will be civil war in America, man.
Now, somebody posted this next tweet. Somebody posted the comparison. Look at how doctored the video is. They actually removed some people from the video. They removed folks from the original video, and in the original, and in the altered one, they actually posted it. Now, what makes matters worse is these DHS idiots actually doubled down on their post. They doubled down, didn't apologize, didn't say, hey, we screwed up. No, these dumbasses doubled down. Now, the young brother who was in the center of the original video, he responded on TikTok. Y'all roll his response.
So I'm getting these mad messages from my DMs and social media and on my comments. And I randomly get a text message talking about a recent video that was posted in my account. I was like, what are y'all talking about? By the way, I'm sick, so if I sound weird, yeah. I get threats daily on IG and everywhere all over my social media all of a sudden due to an old video I posted months ago about Iran. Iran, that was not to be a threat. It was literally a joke, bro. Like, seriously, it's just content. Anyways,
Okay, so basically Jake doing it for that original video that he did about Iran. He's doing it for clickbait, for clicks and likes and attention. Which is just bad. These YNs are through, man.
I seen that video that was posted on my account, then I was like, what the fuck? Well, didn't I post this like months ago? Then I seen the caption, and then I was like, wait, I didn't do that. I still got the video saved on my draft months ago on TikTok, bro. I'm gonna pull it up right here. Now here's the fucked up part. The federal government is involved with something that I didn't do. Like what? So this is what they reposted off my TikTok. That video got taken down. So here's what they reposted on their page. Now that video is going crazy as hell on Twitter, bro. Now I'm a threat to the government with something that I didn't do, bro. Now I'm being called a wannabe YN, a wannabe gangster over a video that I didn't caption.
So you can see it worked like a charm. And there's a video that somebody else posted of this on Twitter, and I actually went on there because I wanted to find the original video that the Department of Homeland Security had sent. So I did a bit of digging and came across the video, but from some racist Edomite MAGA page. And obviously I knew what the comment war was going to be like, but I had to go through it to see if anybody caught wind of the fact that it was not a real video. It was altered, it was edited. Not one comment. I was scrolling for ages, man, and not one Edomite admitted or came out and confessed that this was an edited video. It wasn't the original, because these people are not, they're not
They don't care for the truth.
yeah, they're
don't
not
care what's
upright. There's no uprightness in them, man. This is why there's going to be a vast difference in the rulership of the Israelites when we're ruling the earth, because these people love to lean upon lies. I mean, anything to fit their narrative. I mean, they're very biased in their ways, man. Okay.
This is why we call them the devil.
Yeah.
The deceivers. That's all they do, is lie and deceive.
That's it. They're the adversary, they're children of Satan, and they're the devil, the fault, which means false accuser. Okay. So these people, which means deceiver, Salakia, but they're false accuser also. But these people, ever since they came into power, right? Let's actually pull that up. But ever since they came into power, these people have been natural born liars, man. Like ever since they're born, and also ever since they came into power. The scriptures speak on it. I'm gonna bring it out. Let me just share let's close that out real quick. Let's just share this tab real quick. Right. So I'm assuming you can see this, but it says here in the book of Psalms, chapter 58, verse 3, it says the wicked are estranged from the womb. Okay, let's see if we can pull up the Google definition of estranged, just to clarify. Estranged, it means of a person no longer close or affectionate to someone, alienated. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. It doesn't really have many definitions, but alienated is a good way to put it, right? Okay, they're different. They're off. They don't go according to the way that man is supposed. They don't behave in the way men are supposed to behave, how men were naturally created to be. These people are off in their ways, man, and they're alienated from the ways of the Lord. They don't have the spirit of the Lord in them, because there's many names for the wicked. One of them is also called the ungodly. Okay, the violent man, the wicked, the ungodly, but it's all referring to the same people, which is the nation of Edom. Okay, the biblical Edomites. Now it says the wicked are estranged from the womb, meaning even in the womb, they were just created to be wicked. Okay, it says they go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Now, I'd love to see a Christian's definition or understanding of this scripture, because they'll do anything. They'll read this, even though they've never heard it in Christianity, because the pastor don't bring these type of scriptures out. But they'll try to break it down and wing it, a Christian, thinking they have understanding, and they'll try to say that this is saying that they'll just say anything to try and defend Esau, that this isn't talking about the Edomite. What else could it be? I mean, it's self-explanatory, because it's talking about the wicked, which in Job 9:24, the scriptures say that the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, which means that the people ruling this earth, which are the elites of the nation of Edom, the so-called white man, they are classed as the wicked. So this is talking about them. So it says the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. These are natural born liars, okay? And this, what you're seeing in what you're witnessing in this video, let's go back to it. Huh? Yeah, see if you can. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, just do it the regular way. All right, cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so let's go back to this original video. And you can see that, these people are natural born liars, man. To edit a video like this, that's part of their lies, And we're talking about the government, the Homeland Security, and they call themselves, America calls themselves a Christian country. This is why, our people are simple, because they don't peep game. They don't peep what's really going on, man. They don't really know they have enemies, our people, man.
Or I didn't post. So thanks for my followers for letting me know about this, because seriously, this is getting out of hand. Like literally, this is going crazy, viral all over social media right now. Probably might end up being on the news, bro. So my apologies for that contradiction and rumors from happening. I know my First Amendment, but I did not post that video. So to clear that out, I did not post that video. And I apologize for all the rumors that is going around right now on social media about this conflict. And those other kids that was on the video, bro, they volunteered to want to be on the video, bro. I asked them if they wanted to be on the video, and then they said, yeah, they agreed with it. But it wasn't really aware with the caption for the Iran video. But that Iran video trend that was going on a few months ago, I wanted to hop on that trend, and I peeped a lot of people was doing the same thing too. So I wanted to be creative and change my perspective. So then I seen comments saying, oh, what if somebody made a YN type of video? So then I ended up making that video. And then I started getting threats. Like, what? How is it my fault that's what y'all wanted?
The original video was posted on June 22nd, the day the U.S. bombed Iran. His video had to do with Iran. And these assholes from the Department of Homeland Security, including Ice Barbie Christian, they're so pathetic, they haven't taken it down. This is on the Twitter feed right now. They doubled down on this yesterday. We have the receipts. This young man posted violent threats of murder against our law enforcement. He then deleted it when he was called out and attempted to deny all wrongdoing. We have the receipts. The internet is forever. This willful ignorance and intentional blindness by leading Democrats to the massive increase in violent rhetoric against our agents due to their actions is both disgusting and disappointing. Violence against our agents and officers must stop. So you see them claiming this is it. But y'all, we all know from the original video, cats were omitted. Like, they're omitted. Now, this is the original video right here. It says, you've seen what we can do. Don't say something that you can't finish, Iran. We all ready. United, we all stand. U.S. flag, we want all the smoke. Now, these dumbasses, with ICE go, they actually post this as if they have receipts. But this right here is the doctored video. You see the brother right there in the multicolored shorts, he's gone. You see the brother right there in the tan, he's gone.
So yeah, they went through great lengths to edit this video, man, showing you the hatred that they have for you, Jakes, man. Okay.
Well, one thing, just to say as well, they've got billions of dollars behind them
Yeah.
to edit this to the way they want it, to make it seem like this is what the YNs are on, right? Let me just, it's lucky, just make this a little bit easier. But yeah, there you go. So now, when I click on scriptures, how it just pops up.
Oh, okay.
It's because obviously that's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
makes it
Oh,
easier.
good. That's more convenient. Can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So let me pull up a scripture real quick, right? Since we ain't got to keep swapping screens now. That's a blessing, right? So what I want to do, I want to go to the book of Amos, chapter 1, and verse 11, right? It says, "Thus saith Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof." Right? So, the punishment of the Edomites is not gonna be it's the Lord is gonna fulfill the punishment, man. It's not gonna be forgiven of him. Okay, so the Lord ain't gonna turn away the punishment. It says because he did pursue his brother with the sword. Now, Edom's brother, Esau's brother, Esau Edom, his brother is Jacob, which is you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, and he pursued us with the sword, right? He said, and did cast off all pity. Did are they? After all that we've been through, all the suffering that we've faced in this earth, you would think that by now they'd be like, all right, we've done enough. Let's ease up on them. They ain't easing up. As a matter of fact, they're going harder because they actually want you Jakes back in chains, man. They want you back in slavery. Okay, it says because he did pursue his brother with the sword, his brother Jacob. It says, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, meaning it never ended. So these people are never going to like us. They're never going to change their ways. It says, and he kept his wrath forever. See? So these people, even to this day, are trying to find ways to beat us down, kick us when we're on the ground, kick us while we're down. It's crazy, but you got a lot of our people still thinking that these people are our friend, man.
This is what they do in Ome Congo. They could put this young brother in danger. I hope there's a lawyer out there that volunteers pro bono to sue DHS on behalf of this young brother for putting his life in danger.
There has to be somebody out there willing to do that. I mean, it's one thing when they talk about so many of these other guys,
Thanks,
whether
doing
it's
shit.
a Comey and all of those guys who they falsify things. People who are of means who can defend themselves and have great national and international reputations. But coming after a normal individual like this with doctored information, one arrest of this guy, he's not able to get jobs. He's not able to work. What type of pressure? He's already experiencing death threats or putting out a video on Iran, in U.S. in support of the United States. What about his family? When people start showing up at the door, I don't know his age. Is he in school? Like, are they going to start showing up at his school or the other kids' schools? I mean, not only are we dealing with the fact that they are taking these young men who made a video using their art, but now they're making them also look like criminals. So we have the black male as thug stereotype, but then on top of that, you're saying these black thugs are coming for ICE. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's cowardly.
And like I said earlier, I read the comment board to see if anyone had confessed that, this was an altered video. Not one. But as a matter of fact, they were all just taught, you know how they do. Edomites are proud, man. Proud and lofty. They puff at their enemies. But it was typical comments that I expected to find from an Edomite. Basically saying that these people are scrawny, weak, what a joke, and making black jokes and all that. You know how they do, man. So
they won't, and the fact that they won't take it down, they're probably doing more of it, or other people that we don't even know about, and we really haven't seen this story anywhere else. Roland, people need to rally around this man and his community, because I'm very nervous about what's going to happen. And Christy Nome will have this guy arrested and go on Fox and call this guy a terrorist, Hamas sympathizer that we're not going to tolerate. And this, you can tell, you can see the fear in his voice. It wasn't just about him being sick, in my opinion. And we need to rally around this. It's disgusting. It's despicable. Like I said, it's one thing to do it to the high-profile John Boltons of the world, which is all, messed up, whether we care about them or not. But now we're going at the young people in the community who are using their art, and you're manipulating it using.
All right, that's
makes you think how many people they've actually done that to. I mean, obviously this one came viral.
yeah.
How many other videos have they taken of Jake and changed it and put it out there?
We'll see the technology now. Now this has reached a whole new level. This technology, basically, man, because now we've got AI, and the AI has come a long way from, the video of Will Smith eating spaghetti. It's come a long way. So now you can barely distinguish between what's real and what's not. And the editing software is crazy, because back in the day you couldn't crop someone out of a picture without it being dead noticeable. So this is where we're at, man. So Esau's now able to use this for wickedness, because like I said earlier, he uses technology that should be for righteousness. He uses it for wickedness, man. Hence the reason why the Lord said that this man has certain bounds that he can't pass, because he's about to bring hell on earth. And if the Lord didn't speed up, shorten the days for the elect's sake, there'd be no flesh left, man. But I want to read the book of Revelations, chapter. Let's go to the chapter. Start up with it. This is let's start at verse 7, right? This is Revelations chapter 12, and we're going to start at verse 7. It says, and there was war in heaven, right? It says Michael and his angels fought and against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. So you're going to have the chariots show up on the day of the Lord. This is talking about a future prophecy. And on the day of the Lord, the Lord and the angels are going to show up with the chariots, which we'll call UFOs, and they're going to fight against the dragon and his angels, which is Esau's military, or the militaries of the world. But this is ultimately talking about Esau, because he's known as that old dragon and the devil and Satan. Okay. And it says, and prevailed not, meaning they didn't win. It says, neither was their place found any more in heaven, which is their rulership. They're about to be taken out of rulership. That's why it says in Isaiah chapter 14, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Because Lucifer just means light bearer, which is talking about these elites. So these people are getting ready to be cast out of their heaven. Their heaven is our hell, okay? And they're getting ready to be put into hell. Goes into the story of Lazarus and the rich man, how there's going to be a switch. All right. So verse 9, it says, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which is ultimately just talking about Esau. Because like I said earlier, Esau has many names in the Holy Scriptures. Okay. So I'm going to say white man in the Scriptures. Okay. They're not white anyway. They're red, but it's not even going to say red man. Okay. It's just because the Lord don't define nations by their color, but the color of their skin, because it's not about your color.
Yeah, and if you remember, when we were saying before that the word devil means the deceiver, and Satan is the adversary.
That's right.
It's the adversary of righteousness.
Yeah.
Right. So you can see it right there. That's why when we say that the so-called white man is the devil that the Bible's speaking of, like this is who it's speaking of. The deceiver, the one that went out and lied to the world. Like this is a perfect example. This the video that these Jakes put out, and the deceiver, it changed the whole video to make it seem like they were going after ICE, so they could rally up the troops behind them. See, look, they're ready to, they're preparing to come after us. You see, they're going after our law enforcement. a hardworking law enforcement, and everybody knows that Jake has been protesting about this stuff. Like what do they call that?
So they could tie him in with the left, basically.
Yeah. Like that police brutality and all that other stuff. Now they're trying to say, oh yeah, ICE is being police brutality, but they're saying to their people, the Edomites, oh, we just want the illegals out. We just want the criminals out of our country. But obviously now they're trying to make Jake the criminal.
And they're trying to make Jake the one that's stopping, getting the criminals out the country,
making them like
we just want criminals just running in the streets, because we're Jake is a criminal too, so he just wants people like them, running the streets, eating the cats, eating the dogs.
Which makes me think about when they sent ICE to certain areas, like I guess was it in Philly somewhere? And ICE, no, it might have been Washington, but they cleared out the gangs, and then the people, they're showing videos of Jake's like, I've never been able to play outside.
Yeah, that's
kids never been able to play outside.
Washington D.C.
Yeah. So they're trying to make it seem like, oh yeah, we got the criminals out. Now look, these people, see how much peace they're having. You know what I mean? They made a diligent effort to make that the point. Let that go viral.
Because the scriptures say that Satan is even the devil, even Satan is transformed into an angel of light. So basically, they're appearing to the world, the simple, that they're the good guy, that they're doing righteous things by getting the criminals out of the country. It's like I said, man, a simple believeth every word. All right, we'll grab that in a sec, but let me continue with this. Right, it says, and that great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan. So Esau's getting ready to fall, man. He's coming out of his rulership. We're going to read Revelation 12 and 12 in a minute, because he don't have long left to rule, right? So it says, it was literally a few scriptures up. It says, which deceiveth the whole world. Now, the thing is, there's many ways this devil is deceiving the whole world, but one of them is, as they do, manipulate AI videos and this technology to deceive the simple, deceive the masses, right? I don't know if you want to try and find me that scripture that speaks about how Satan would be loosed from his prison and deceive the world in the bottomless pit, right?
Yeah.
It says, which deceiveth the whole world. It says he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So basically they're gonna be destroyed. They're gonna be killed, right? It says, and I heard, and taken out rulership. It says, and I heard a loud voice in heaven, saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power and the power of his Mashiach, his anointed, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down. See? So it says the accuser of our brethren is cast down, because this is what he's also known as, the accuser. It says, which accuse them, talking about us, before our Lord, our power day and night. So, this devil don't sleep. He's constantly plotting and scheming, coming up with ways to, deceive and persecute us, man, and to accuse us as being the world's problem, It says, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, right? The sacrifice that Yahushua made for us, right? It says, and by the word of their testimony, see? Because the testimony of the Lord is the spirit of prophecy, which it says in Revelations 19 and 10. So the fact that we're prophesying in the end times and telling you what's getting ready to happen, this means that we're the ones that have the testimony of the Lord. It says, and they love not their lives unto death. See, because we could be out doing anything in this world, but we choose to do this. So we don't love our life. We're not trying to hold on to our life. Okay, we're gonna say F you when they try to come with the Kuragma, man. It says, therefore rejoice. This is Revelations 12 and 12. And this is, what I was speaking about earlier. It says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. It says, woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil, Esau, the accuser, right, is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So they're going all out now, man. They're doing all kind of things to, basically accuse us, paint us out to be the problem, and take the heat off them. Hide the crimes that they've been doing and that they're continuing to do. The Epstein list. You got the fact that they're trying to the massacre at Wounded Knee. They're trying to paint out that they're trying to manipulate history and make out like these people were brave and they were honorable men, just like they erect their statues of these racist devils all over the world because they're proud of their history, man. Like the scripture said, they have a perpetual hatred, man, and they're gonna have to pay for that. Like it says here in Amos 8, 1 and 11, but it also mentions it in, let me quickly just turn to it, the book of Ezekiel, right? Precept to that in chapter 35, right? Let's start at 1, Ezekiel 35 and 1. It says, moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, which is the Edomites, and prophesy against it. It says, and say unto it, thus saith the Lord power, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out mine hand against thee. That's why their kingdom is falling apart. Everything's going wrong for them, and they're looking for someone to accuse, someone to blame. It says, and I will make thee most desolate. So the Lord is going to lay their habitations waste, okay? And they're going into slavery. It says, I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am Yahweh. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, see, just like we read in Amos 1 and 11, right? These people have an everlasting hatred. Perpetual means never ending. So these people have a never ending hatred for us, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, and they're going to have to pay for that. It says it. So we're reading it. Ezekiel 35 and 5, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity and in the time that their iniquity had an end. See, it says, therefore, as I live, saith the Lord power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sif thou is not a hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So they've got a harsh judgment coming because these people hate blood. They're doing nothing but deceiving the world, and they're not letting up on us. They're not having any mercy. What's that scripture that I got you to grab?
That's Revelation 20.
Revelations chapter
20 and
20 and 21, yeah?
No, 20, verse 1.
Oh, 20 and verse 1. Okay, yeah. Right? So this is Revelations 20 and 1, right? Verse 3. All right. So the point is in 3. Because these people have deceived the whole world, man. Just like we read in Revelations 12. Let me quickly go back to it. It says, and that great dragon, this is Revelations 12 and 9, and that great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, Esau, right? Which deceiveth the whole world, these devils, these pink bastards. It says, he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. See, it says, which deceiveth the whole world. So these people are the ones that deceive the whole world. It says it here in Revelations chapter 20, starting at 1. It says, and I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. It says, and he laid hold on that dragon. This is a past prophecy, by the way. This is something that happened already. This isn't a future prophecy. Now, the one that we read in Revelations 12, that's a future prophecy. Okay, so don't get it twisted, man. This ain't the same event. All right, because Christians don't have a clue. It says, and he laid, and Revelations 20 and 2, and he laid hold on the dragon, Esau, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, which is, during the, before the Renaissance era, during the Byzantine, the time of the Byzantine Empire, where Jake was ruling the earth, man. Okay, because we used to rule over these people because they were such savage beasts. They were, they were desolate, man, and waste. These people were they were in a very low place. These people couldn't talk. They couldn't cook. They couldn't cook good meals. They were eating juniper roots, and you know, they were speaking like a donkey. You know, making these cave. You know, like the typical caveman grunting. That's how they used to communicate, man. And these people were very hairy, very dirty, and we ran them off to the caves. Okay, and we used to rule over them. Okay, so this is what it's talking about, the Lord binding them 1,000 years. You know, the Lord took them out of power, and because when they first came, you had the twin brothers Jacob and Esau. Esau developed into a nation. Okay, and you know, they eventually got to the point where they were just disgusting, and we ran them off to the caves. It says and bound him 1,000 years. Verse 3, it says, and cast him into the bottomless pit, which is Europe, because Europe doesn't have a lot of natural resources. This is why it's known as the bottomless pit. It says, and shut him up and set seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more. Because when these people are in power, all they do is deceive. That's why the scriptures say when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn, because these people, all they do is deceive the world, man. So it says that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, which we're living at the end of his reign. You know, the 1,000 years were fulfilled. Esau came back into power through Alexander the Greek, and I believe there was four generals also, and he passed down power to them, and then evils were multiplied in the earth, man. Lord willing, I'll grab that and say, in fact, let me write that down so I don't forget, because I know me, terrible. All right, evils multiplied. Right, just a little reminder. Grab that in a minute, because it's very important for you to know this. When these people come into power, you're going to see nothing but wickedness, right? Deception. So they were bound 1,000 years. Let's read that from the top again. Revelations chapter 20 and 3, and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut, which is Europe, and shut him up and set seal upon him, that he should not deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season, which right now we're living in the end of his little season, and he doesn't have long left. So this is ultimately all that he's doing, accusing Jake, is all to try to keep hold of his rulership, or to at least extend his time in rulership, because he knows, according to prophecy, that he doesn't have long left, just like what we read here in Revelations 12 and 12. It says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe, death and destruction, meaning to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. So the masses are in trouble, man. Why? It says, for the devil, Esau, is come down unto you having great wrath. That's why Donald Trump is just going ham right now in that office, man. Okay, he's building a ballroom on the east wing of the White House, and he's building a nuclear bunker underneath it, man. It says having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. So these people know they don't have long left to rule. Why? Because their little season is almost up, like it says here in Revelation chapter 20 and verse 3. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. See, because as long as these people have been ruling, it seems like it's been forever. You know, they've erased a lot of history when we were ruling during the Renaissance era, which Renaissance means rebirth, right? So when they came into power, they rebirthed the earth. They made their own reset on history and destroyed a lot of documents, and you know, they did a process called iconoclasm, right? Where they painted over the icons and destroyed a lot of ancient icons, which were proof of history of us ruling. They shot off the noses, the Sphinx and all that. So that's it, that's it on that. But I want to show you another clip, right? Because there's other ways that Esau deceives the world. Did you have something that you wanted to...
Yeah, I did actually wanted to bring out a scripture. This is just talking in regards to, before you go into the next video. This is in the book of Ecclesiastes.
Should I pull it up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can pull it up. Yeah.
Let's go Sirach
12 and 10.
12 and 10. Okay, yeah. Good one.
Yeah, so this is Sirach chapter 12, or Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 10. It says, "Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness," right? So it's plain and simple right there, where it tells you never to trust thine enemy. The Edomites are the enemy to the Israelites, the natural enemy. It goes back to the book of Genesis, right? The 25th chapter, where Jacob and Esau is introduced into the story, right? And then obviously when you follow that story, you understand the dynamics between the two. Jacob received the blessing, Esau did not. So from that point, Esau became the enemy, right, to the Israelites. It says in the scriptures, roughly paraphrasing, that he would pursue his brother,
with the sword, yeah.
Yeah, with the sword. It's lucky my mind just went blank there for a second. But and he's done exactly that. Now he's getting towards the end of his time to rule. He's trying to usurp the blessing that Jacob got, because he's trying to establish his own kingdom, under the digital ID, the digital chip.
That's it. Yeah.
The Karagma,
the microchip.
Right?
The digital ID is leading up to the chip. Mark of the beast.
Exactly. So as you can see, like that's why he's coming out with his his accusations. He's the accuser of the brethren. Says never trust thine enemy. He's an enemy. Don't trust him. Don't believe anything he says, because throughout history we can see time and time again this guy lies. This nation lies. Right?
I
was gonna say,
you got
go to the next scripture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. Right, so it says in verse 11, it says, "Though he humble himself and go crouching." But sometimes when they get exposed, what do? Like Trump. When you look at how Trump has been, he says one thing and then does the complete opposite, and then tries to come with an excuse for his wickedness, right? And then he's like, "Oh, I've done all this for the blacks. They should vote for me." They all do it. The Edomites. That's their motto. It's to deceive. It's to deceive.
Yeah.
Says, though he humble himself and go crouching, I got all these, we got these jobs for you Jakes out there, the black community were, bringing in more jobs, and Trump is winning and all this other stuff. You got our people cheering for Trump. Now look, he's firing everybody. Now he's cutting the benefits.
He's showing his true colors.
Showing his true colors, exactly. It says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped the looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. And you can see people are starting out to expose this guy, starting to expose these people. That's why now they need somebody to blame, because obviously, they got the spotlight on them. The spotlight's on them. And now they're trying to find that new face of the enemy. And obviously Jake happens to be that person, because we're the ones that shouting the loudest.
So
yeah.
All right, I want to bring out really quickly, what was it, Malachi? Yeah, 1. In fact, let's start. This is Malachi 1, starting at, you know what? Let's start top. It's Malachi 1 and 1. It says the burden of the word of Yahweh to Israel by Malachi, right? The whole Bible's to Israel. It's, except for Obadiah. Malachi 1 and 2, it says, I have loved you, saith Yahweh. Yet ye say, you know, our people say, wherein hast thou loved us? Right? How you love us? You let us go into slavery. You know, black people are oppressed. We're catching hell. How do you love us? This is what our people say these days. It says, wherein hast thou loved us? And then the Lord says, was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord, saith Yahweh? Yeah, I loved Jacob, right? He loves us. And I hated Esau. See? So the Lord does have favorites, just like, we have favorites, Just because the Lord created everybody doesn't mean he loves everybody equal, man. That's Christianity's lies. It says, and I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. And that's happened before, where they used to live in Petra, but now it's getting ready to happen again in America. The Lord's getting ready to lay that desolate and waste for the dragons of the wilderness, man. But this time they're not coming back into power. So it says, whereas Edom saith we are impoverished. Let's look up that word impoverished, just a Google definition. All right, just to give you a better understanding. Because like I said earlier, these people, we ruled over them. They were through. It says poor, poverty-stricken, destitute, made poor, right? Deprived of strength or vitality. So these people, we were in power. We ruled over them. Whereas Edom saith we are impoverished, we're through, we're in a low place. But we will return and build the desolate places. And this is when they got released from the bottomless pit to deceive the nations for that short season, just like we read in the book of Revelation, chapter 20, man. Okay? This is how you get the understanding, precept upon precept, man. So it says, they will build the desolate places, which they did. It says, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, right? Because the Lord allowed them to come into power to fulfill prophecy. Okay? They shall build, but I will throw down. So, the Lord is going to get ready to take them out of power. Esau is getting ready to fall from heaven, right? That old serpent. You're going to cast out of heaven, man. So the Lord's going to throw them down. He says, and they shall call them the border of wickedness. So these people are the cancer of the earth. And everybody's going to realize that once they see what this devil's about to do. Because right now they're starting to get a taste of it through, the formation of ICE, the constant oppression of our people. They know that there's something wrong with these people, and all the cases of pedophilia that these people are into, incest, sleeping with animals. I mean, the list goes on, right? They're wicked. It says they shall and they shall call them the border of wickedness, right? The problem, the world's problem. And the people, right? Proving this ain't just talking about one man, Edom, Esau, right? The people, the Edomites, the nation, against whom Yahweh have indignation forever. So the Lord hates them, and he's always going to have indignation against them. That's righteous anger. Okay. So did you have anything?
Yeah, I was going to bring out Psalms chapter 10.
Let me grab that. Oh, what about that? Oh, yeah. I'm confused here. Right, Psalms 10.
Yeah, so this is
should we start up one actually?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the book of Psalms, chapter 10, verse 2. It says, the wicked in his place doth persecute
his
the poor. Slakia, the wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined.
See? Hey man, the Lord, these people are setting a trap for Jake, but they're going to be taken in the very trap that they've set. Okay, because everything they do is going to backfire on them. Their racism, as far as wanting to get what they call immigrants out their country, right? That's backfiring on them because now they're about to starve to death because the crops, the people ain't working they're not working the fields anymore. See, contrary to Edomites' delusional beliefs, they need us. We don't need them. They've always needed us. Everything they benefit from in this society is from what we've created, man. Damn near everything, man. Okay, because Jacob is the former of all things, the scriptures say. All right, so we're the ones that invent things. These are the destroyers and the thief that cometh not but for to steal, kill, and destroy, and accuse and deceive. You got to understand that, man. So yeah, continue, Slakia.
Yep. So just read that again. Psalms 10:2. The wicked in his pride doth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. Right. So like my brother said, the truth is coming out, and they're about to be, they are being exposed. Right. As you continue on in verse 3, it says, for the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blesseth the covetous, with whom Yahweh abhorreth. So the Lord don't like these people, man. That's why we say that, the so-called white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. The Lord don't like him,
Yeah, and it's not necessarily about color, because we just know that, most of the so-called white people are Edomites, but you do have some. You do have a few that are Israelites, and you can normally tell through their spirit, because the scriptures say the spirit beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High. Okay, roughly paraphrasing, but that's what it says. So it's not necessary when we say that the so-called white man is the devil. We're not saying that it's all of them. We're just saying that it's most of them, because you notice that most of them are the ones that are in the spirit of get them out of our country. The very countries that they stole. Okay, they're doing that in the UK and they're doing that in America, man. They all have the same sentiment, which is to hate anyone brown. That we're not welcome.
If you're brown, get out of my town.
Yeah.
All right, so verse 4, it says, the wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after the Most High. The Most High is not in all his thoughts. Like, he ain't thinking about the Most High, even though they profess themselves to be a Christian nation. They don't act in the manner of how the scriptures say that the righteous and the believers should conduct themselves. Right. So this is just exposing Esau more and more, right? Because he ain't the people that he claims to be, right? Well, he is, but I'm saying what he's presenting to the world, that he's the righteous, that he's cleaning up the wickedness in the earth. Jake's are the wicked, but in all actuality, it's him. He's the wicked.
It reminds me of that video. You accuser the fucking brethren. Remember that woman? That's Edomites' idea of what a Christian should be.
Yeah, exactly. That video was crazy, man. That one was bugged out.
Ungodly, man.
Exactly. So verse 5, it says his ways are always grievous, right? Are always grievous. It says thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them.
Yeah, that's due to his pride, man.
Yeah. Because he's better than everybody.
Yeah. He scoffs at us and calls us low IQ and all that, man. Makes little silly childish memes about us and stuff.
Yeah, because we had that clip. The clip showing about how the Jim Crow tests or whatever that was.
We can bring that out if you want.
Yeah, we can bring that out in a few minutes.
Let you finish that.
But he puffeth at them, so he thinks he's smarter than us. But they use trickery to both boost themselves up, to make them seem like they're the wise and smart. But they're not.
Pseudoscience and their false statistics and stuff, man.
Yeah. Like so-called black man is 13% of the population, but commit most of the crimes. Not taking into consideration that you police our neighborhoods, and then you arrest, like you count the arrests, and obviously you got false accusations and all these things that they take into consideration for those numbers. They don't do it for the you know the suburbs. You know what I mean? Like the nice areas, the posh areas. Those people don't get stopped and searched.
And their excuse will be because they don't commit trouble.
Yeah.
You know, but they systematically keep us poor and pack us in and shove us all in ghettos and big flats and stuff, man, where there's a condensed population. You're bound to get nothing but trouble. They pack us in inner cities, man. They don't give Jake a fair chance through redlining and blacklisting or something like that, I think it's called. You know, different ways that they keep Jake oppressed, keep them, you know, keep a foot on our neck, keep us from ever rising. They ain't so quick to give us a loan. And you know, if you have a name that sounds like a black person, a so-called black person's name, Jamal or Quita or Keisha or something, you ain't getting the job. You know, they're gonna take your application and rip it up, man.
Nowadays they probably just get AI to don't accept
yeah.
Susan or Jane.
Mm.
Yeah,
because you know we have different names that goes into the two manner of people, man, as it speaks about in Genesis chapter 25.
Yeah. So verse 6. Verse 6 says, "He have said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity." And that's the pride of him. You know, he's saying we're cleaning out the garbage, and we're going to be the rich again, make America great. We're going to get the tariffs. We're going to never be in poverty. And you know, that's Trump. Things that Trump says.
That's why it said in that I read I brought out earlier, Malachi 1:4, Edom say if we are impoverished, like just like they're saying America's in a bad state, but we will rebuild. And the Lord said, yeah, they'll rebuild, but I'll throw down. Remember? Well, it's the same spirit. They're in that same spirit today. Build back better, which is 666. If you take the lowercase b, build back better, it's going into the number of his name, man, because they hide that number in their products and different things, a lot. And also when they say make America great again, that's them saying we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Remember? That's the devil, man.
Yeah. And like you say, this verse 7 says his mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity.
That's it.
And that goes back to like what you were saying about how he created Redline. Had Jake's in the poor neighborhoods, and he was scamming them, charging them extortionate rent, even though he was keeping setting laws and everything to keep Jake in poor areas. So this is what he is doing. He commits a lot of fraud, deceit. Like we say, he's deceitful. He's a liar. Full of cursing. Because black eager is right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's him. That's the pride of him. Right? Verse 8. So a couple more verses. So this is verse 8. It says, he sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor.
That's us. We're the poor. So-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, man.
That's why we say he's, the nation that's in rulership now, right? The Edomites. This is them.
Yeah.
And this is why we say is, and like my brother mentioned, rightly so, is that it's not all so-called white people that's Edomites, right? But a large majority of them are, and it's not about your color or anything like that. But you can look at the pattern of these people, and you can see that this is what he does. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. So he goes to these poor areas and sometimes you get the patrol cars that are just sitting in the cut,
Yeah.
waiting for Jake to make one little tiny mistake so he can pounce on it.
And they also set up systems of entrapment where, you know, they'll like you said, they'll be lurking in the cut, so they'll probably set out a trailer full of night Jordans unlocked, waiting for Jake to go, you know, try and steal them, and then so they can, you know, accuse you, you know, look at you, see, this is all a part of their wicked devices, man. Okay.
Yeah. Says in the secret place doth he murder the innocent. You know, oh, he's running. He's got the box of Jews. You know, he poured, you know, I told him call, you know, get his wallet out, and it looked like a gun, so you know, gunned him down in the street. You know, he murdered the innocent. And I'm not saying that, you know, nobody's that ever perished been considered innocent, roughly paraphrasing, right? But obviously, you know, he's shooting Jake in the streets for the slightest little, you know, misunderstanding.
Even in secret places, like you know, you got Alligator Alcatraz, and you got all these people. They saying that since Trump developed ICE, they've deported, I think they said 500,000 so-called illegal immigrants. Where are all those people going? They ain't shipping them all back to their countries. You know, a lot of them they're murdering in secret places. There's rumors of them pushing Jake out of planes into the middle of the ocean, you know, with chained up so that the sharks can eat them, and the bodies are washing up on shore, right? There's also, you know, different black sites that they take people. You know, you find Jake hanging from trees probably about once a month. Find a new Jake, some more strange fruit hanging from a damn tree, right? And this is them taking you to a secret place and murdering you, man. They got underground
black sites,
tunnels, and yeah, man.
Yeah.
You look at the ratio of how many of our people go missing compared to theirs. It's crazy, man.
That's it. Verse 9 says, he lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. That's us. He doth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net.
His traps. You know, he's like they do. They entrap us. They might set out a bicycle unchained, just put it out there in the projects and wait for someone to come and get it, because they know that somebody gonna come get it. I'm not condoning that, but you know it's bound to happen.
Especially in a poor area.
Yeah, especially in a poor area. Pretty sure you leave it in the suburbs, it's still gonna happen, man. Okay. But like we said, he's just the false accuser, the accuser of the brethren, man.
Yeah. There's only 2 more verses. Psalms 10:10 says, he croucheth and humble himself that the poor may fall by his strong ones.
Yeah.
Right.
This is ICE, you know, that's one example of his strong ones. His police force, you know.
That's it, man. In verse 11 says, he hath said in his heart, the Most High hath forgotten. He hideth his face, he will never see it. But that's where Esau's pride lets him down, because the Lord sees everything. The Lord's eyes are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. So this man ain't gonna get away. He's you know, the wicked ain't gonna be unpunished, right?
He thinks because he's gotten away with this for so long, you know, scriptures say because judgment is not executed speedily, roughly paraphrasing, because judgment against this evil work is not executed speedily, therefore it is in the hearts of the sons of men to do wickedly, or something along them lines. I've probably butchered the hell out of that, but you know, roughly paraphrasing, that's what's going on. You know, they think that because they're not getting judged right away, that the Lord has forgotten about us. You don't see that they can continue to get away with it like they have been. And it ain't. They're not going to ride off in the sunset with what they've done. They're not going to always get away with this, man, because their short season is almost up. And the Lord says in Isaiah 14, starting at verse 1, that the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and yet choose Israel. We're always going to be his chosen, and he's going to have mercy on us. and then he's gonna switch things around and put the cup into Esau's hand, and Esau's got to drink it down to the damn dregs, man. Okay. So let me see what other scriptures we got, because there's a couple more I wanted to bring out.
We've still got the videos as well.
Yeah, yeah. Bear with me one sec though. Yeah, we definitely got to bring out Revelations. Did I bring out 12 and
Yeah.
17?
All right, so
I don't think I went as far as 17. This is 12. Yeah. So we're gonna read. Yeah. Right. Because this lines up with Revelations 12 and 12, how they're coming down having great wrath, but a lot of their anger is going to be turned against us. You know, the scriptures speak about in Second Ezra's chapter 16, I believe it is, that there'll be a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Right. So Revelations 12 and 17, I'll read this and then we'll play a video or two. It says, and the dragon, which we already explained, is the Roman Empire or Esau, right? And the dragon was wroth. Let's see if we can just put the word wroth. Let's see the Google definition for wroth. Angry, irate, annoyed, cross, vexed, irritated. Because we're provoking through us preaching this gospel, is provoking him to make moves, man. So it says, and the dragon was wroth, angry with the woman. Now the woman represents Israel, the Israelites, because the Lord said, I've likened the daughter of my people unto a comely and delicate woman, roughly paraphrasing. Okay. So this is the woman it's talking about. It says, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. How does a woman have seed? The woman don't have seed. Man carries the seed. So this is the reason why this is not talking about an actual woman. They're not about to go wage war on one woman. It's talking about the Israelites and the remnant of her seed, which is the elect, the ones that have the testimony of Yahushua. Okay. It says, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of the Most High and have the testimony of Yahushua Mashiach. So the ones that have the testimony are the ones on the highways and hedges, the prophets of the end times, okay? And the ones prophesying against Babylon the Great, the ones that the Lord is truly dealing with, starting with the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. So they're going to set their attention on us and make war with us. This is why this AI technology is ultimately going to be used to wage war against us in the very near future, man. This is a very soon coming prophecy. Okay. Now let's see if we can see if we can cancel that. Let's quickly. All right, bear with me. We're gonna yeah. On that. That's it. Yeah. Oh yeah.
See how it pops up.
Oh yeah, okay.
You have to have the window up.
Yeah.
Make sure.
Yeah. Right. No, don't know which
Department of Homeland Security.
Right, so we've watched that one already. Let's skip to
Jim
the
Crow
next.
test so that white voters would pass,
Yeah,
but
so
black voters wouldn't. Well, we can.
Right. So this is the one we were speaking about earlier, right? Where this goes into Esau's pseudoscience, because basically, what he's trying to do is try to convince the world that we have a low IQ, when really, the way he did things is very twisted and manipulated, man. It says, how did they designed Jim Crow tests, during the time of Jim Crow, the tests to, see who has a better IQ, right? And this is very good. This is very important for you to understand that these people are the deceiver of the whole world, man. Okay.
Jim Crow test so that white voters would pass but black voters wouldn't? Well, we can look at an actual Jim Crow test to see what tricks they would use. For example, this question says to use the space below to draw 3 circles, one inside, engulfed by the other. The problem is that it's not clear if you're supposed to draw it like this or like this. Because if you drew it like this, well, they could say that, hey, you drew 2 circles inside of the other, not 1. And the rule said that you had to do exactly what you're told in the statement, nothing more, nothing less. So drawing 2 circles inside the other is doing more than what the statement told you to do, so you fail. But if you drew it like this, well, they could say that actually, the question meant to make the circle inside both of the other circles, because the other in this sentence is plural, not singular, so you failed. This subjectivity gave poll workers the power to fail the answers from black voters, but pass the answers from white voters. And there wouldn't even be enough time to do any of this thinking to make sure you get the best answer possible, because there'd only be 10 minutes to complete the whole test. I'll pop out of the frame real quick for you to screenshot this if you want to try the other questions yourself in 10 minutes. Oh, but this isn't the whole test. This was just the first page. There's also this page and this page for 30 questions total, meaning you have to answer each question in 20 seconds, which is 4 times faster than the SAT. In fact, this test was given to Harvard students who of all people should be able to ace standardized tests, and not a single one of them passed. So here's the thing then.
What do you think's happening in that?
So, as you see, Esau, he's the devil, man. And this is how they use their statistics to say that Jake is not as their IQ is not as high. This is part of the ways they use their statistics to say our IQ is not as high as the Edomites, man. Okay, because they set things up where they can move the goalpost and manipulate things to go in favor of their people. Even when you go into like the census, like if a light-skinned Latino, so-called Latino, if they do something good, then they're classed on the records as being white, so-called white, or Caucasian. But if they commit a crime, then they're classed as being Hispanic, so that the statistics go in their favor. This man is the devil, man. Okay, false accuser, right? The accuser of the brethren. Now check this video out, because this shows you how they've done similar things in the past, like that YN video that we showed you earlier that the Homeland Security manipulated. This is how they do it. Esau's about to make his own tongue fall upon himself. Check this.
Picture.
I think she just like lost something for the team, and then her team is like bullying her team.
What do you think's happening in that picture?
I think she just like lost something for the team, and then her team is like bullying her for losing.
We're going to go to the next slide now. Eliza, could you please read that out?
Netball must name those responsible for cheating scandal.
Why do we think that that photo is being used with that headline?
They're trying to get the person of
Oh, Slacky, that's not Esau. I thought Esau was making his tongue fall upon himself. It normally is, but I forgot this isn't even Esau. It looked more like Elam.
color in trouble, because the white people are probably the people that were cheating, but they don't want themselves to get into trouble.
Since that's like right under who's responsible for cheating scandal, it's kind of like pinpointing that people of color do it.
That was a really, really good answer, because it kind of looks like she's the cheat, doesn't it? She's the one there with her head in her hands. That same image was used with roughly the same headline all across the country. What do you think that does?
It starts a stereotype that people of color cheat.
That's really, really good.
I hope that with the lesson, they learn that media plays a huge role in racism. They've always got to ask themselves, am I thinking critically about where this article's come from, who's writing it, what their agenda is? And I know they might be a bit young to understand that conceptually, but hopefully I can break it down to a level where the kids understand where a lot of racism comes from and where a lot of prejudice can start.
Now, this is the actual story. Can I get someone to read that out?
Super Netball's Fever fined $300,000 for salary cap scandal.
The people in management cheated, and none of the players knew. So it's actually not the player's fault.
I think they just, like, framed her.
In a way, it looks like that, doesn't it? Yeah. The media.
You can't make this up, man. That even the kids see, you know, when truth, when the veil is lifted, that covering cast, then you see Esau for what he, you know, what his real agenda is, man. You know, he does things in such a sneaky way because the scriptures say that the serpent, which is talking about Esau, if you can receive it, was more cunning than more subtle, which you could say it means cunning also, you know, but he's more subtle than any other beast of the field, man. Says it in the book of Genesis, I believe, chapter 3 or 4.
He's made it look like she cheated.
Yeah.
Do you feel any urgency?
See? So yeah, man, you know, Esau he stays deceiving, and it's all pointed. His energy is basically pointed toward the poor. You know, people that are not of his, anyone not of his nation, really, but mainly the Israelites. He's set his sight on us tribes because of who we are. It's just that they know who we are, but our people don't know who we are. And the lower level Edomites don't know who we are, but they still have that perpetual hatred inside them for our people. It's all a part of that perpetual hatred. Even they don't fully understand why they hate us so much. It's because our spirit clashes and wars against theirs. We're two manner of people, man. Right? But these are the wicked. Okay? They have no compassion, you know, no morals. Let's go ahead and play this. We're about to wrap it up.
To end the shutdown in the next week, 2 weeks, or would you be fine if it stretches into November and then toward the holidays with folks not getting paid?
Well, you know, shutdown, we've had many, many shutdowns, and this is a shutdown that shouldn't have happened. A group of people brilliantly decided to make it after the election. I said, thank you very much. In other words, give it to Trump instead of Biden. So it shouldn't happen. And likewise, debt ceiling shouldn't have. But the big, great big, beautiful bill solved the debt ceiling problem for.
Hey, there goes that 666 again. Remember, build back better, make America great again, build back better. MAGA, if I'm not mistaken, if you go into the meaning of MAGA, the word MAGA means witchcraft or something like that, if I'm not mistaken, man. And then you got the big beautiful bill, build back better, 3 lowercase b's, man. Okay, you gotta read between the lines, you know.
Is there a point where you would reach out to all parties
Here's what's
and
happening
try
on
to
the
negotiate?
shutdown, though. Honestly, can I put it in plain words for you? And you're a smart guy, so you all understand, but a lot of people don't. The Democrats are getting killed on the shutdown because we're closing up programs that are Democrat programs that we were opposed to. So we're being, and they're never going to come back in many cases. So we're being able to do things that we were unable to do before. So we're closing up programs that are Democrat programs that we wanted to close up or that we never wanted to happen, and now we're closing them up. And we're not going to let.
That just goes to show you they're going after jakes.
Yeah.
Who's that benefit? That benefits people of lower income, poor communities.
Yeah.
Which you'll find predominantly are jakes.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of Edomites recipients of SNAP. I think, if I'm not mistaken, statistically, there's more of them than us. But you know, when you're dealing with Jake, you know, there's a large percentage of the population of us Jakes that are on Section 8 or SNAP benefits. So, you know, but anyone poor is undesirable to them anyway, because they've set up a system to where, you know, you have the rich and the poor. They're trying to take out the middle class. So ultimately, the rich is the ones they really want to save, okay? Because they believe through their false, you know, their false ways, their deception that, you know, if you're rich, it means because you've done better in the system they've created, so you're more desirable. If you're poor, you just got to get off our earth, is the way, you know, the sentiment they're taking.
Them come back. The Democrats are getting killed. And we're going to have a list of them on Friday, closing up some of the most egregious, socialist, semi-communist, probably not full communist, we're saving that for New York, but semi-communist programs, and we're closing them up. We're not closing up Republican programs because we think they work. So the Democrats are getting killed, but they're not telling the people about that. I say it, nobody, well, I haven't said it probably as bluntly as I just said it, but so we are closing up Democrat programs that we think, that we disagree with, and they're never going to open again.
Never gonna open again. Yeah, Shalom, bro. Yeah, how about Shem Yahushai Barakatah? Shalom, Judah.
Shalom.
Yeah, so let's bring out a quick precept.
The shit.
Yeah, let's start this. Bear with us. Lord willing, we're coming out loud and clear. We're doing, my microphone broke recently, so we're using headphones as our microphone for the time being. And it seems to be working okay. This is the book of, let's go to Isaiah chapter 65. 65, starting at verse 1. It says, it's not it. 60. It's not Isaiah either. Psalm 64. It's lucky, bear with me. Psalms chapter 64, starting at 1. It says, hear my voice, O Most High, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. The enemy is Esau, Edom. Oh, okay. Hey, Khan, the water said the sound is good. That's good to know. Right? So he says, preserve my life from fear of the enemy, right? Which our number one enemy is ultimately Esau, Edom. But there's many scriptures that go into the fact that Esau, Edom is our enemy. Also, you can read Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68, that we would be sold in slavery, transatlantic slave trade to our enemies. You've got Psalms 83. You've got Nehemiah 5 and 9, which states that the heathen are our enemies, right? So it says, this is Psalm 64 and 2, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. So, the secret counsel of the wicked is them coming together to plot and scheme against the children of Israel, such as the Homeland Security manipulating a video and making it go viral, depicting Jake as, being terroristic, basically, right? Being, so that they can falsely accuse us and get everybody. You see, the thing is, Esau always has to create a boogeyman in order to justify what he's getting ready to do next. Because Jake has no clue, man. Esau's coming for them. Okay. Psalm 64 and 3, who whet their tongue like a sword, right? Whet means to sharpen. They sharpen their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. These YNs are, anti-Semitic, they're this, they're that, as an example. It says that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. So there's coming a time, the perfect is not the YNs. The perfect is the ones that have the testimony of Yahushai. Now, like I read earlier in the book of Revelations, chapter 12, that they're going to make war with the woman, the remnant of her seed. Make war with the remnant of the seed, Salakia. So, they're getting ready to shoot at the perfect and fear not. They're not going to fear the Lord, because we proclaim to the world, and it's gone into the gates of the nobles, that we are the children of the Lord. Okay. the apple of his eye. But they don't care about all that. They still gonna do what they gonna do because the Lord gonna put spirit on them to do it. Because they're the devil, man. And the Lord uses the wicked as his sword. It says they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privately, saying, they say, who shall see them? So this is why they can get together and make these accusations against us. You got the government, the federal government, man, the Homeland Security, resorting to manipulating videos, and they went through a lot of effort to alter that video and then put it on their official Twitter page to say that this is an official video of those terrorists, making terroristic threats against our law enforcement. How dare they? And they knew that they would get a reaction from the simple. Why? Because the scriptures say, it's in Proverbs. Bear with me 1 second. Proverbs 14. This is why. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 15. The simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his going. The point is in this first bit. The simple believeth every word, man. And these Edomites are known as children of fools, the basest of men. They believe anything if it's on the TV. They fell for the hokey pokey, let's just say, right? The juice, the poison. They fell for that. And Trump came in office, said, I'm going to do this for the country. I'm going to do that. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And the only promise he kept was to fulfill his racism, getting brown people out of his country to make it white again. That's music to their ears. But they believed that he was going to make the economy great again. They believed he was going to make America great again because that's their savior. They claim to worship Jesus. They claim they're a Christian, God-fearing nation and all that. No, man, these people worship Trump. Trump is their savior. And they've made that very clear, man. But he's the devil and he deceived them. And they deserve what's coming, man. So let me read that again, right? This is Psalm 64:5. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune, right? They communicate of laying snares, traps, privily. They say, who shall see them? So they think no one's going to figure this out, right? That's why they want to get rid of TikTok, because people are pulling up their, people are digging it up, man. Charlie got murked. All the things that's been coming out about that whole ordeal, that's a way of them, thinking deep. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. An evil matter is to say, okay, the left is the problem because look, they took out this guy because they didn't believe in his freedom of speech, his ideologies, right? And they're violent. Look what they did to, Mr. Kirk, right? That's another way that they set snares, they lay snares privily. It says that because ultimately their ultimate goal is to come after us. We're the prize, man, because of the testimony that we hold. It says they search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them. And the heart is deep, meaning the mind is deep, meaning they go to great lengths to plot and scheme and plan this all their deceptions out because they are the deceiver, the devil. That's what the word devil means. That's all. It just means deceiver. These people are the devil, man. It says, but the Most High shall shoot at them with an arrow. His nukes, right? That arrow that's going to shoot from one end of the earth to the other. The scriptures speak about, right? It says, suddenly shall they be wounded. It says, so they shall make their own tongue fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. So you got all kind of Edomite so-called conspiracy theorists all over TikTok, all over different platforms and social media. That's why they're trying to police it heavily right now through their digital ID, because once that digital ID is set up in place, that's the end of even this ministry, okay? And we're very close. That fulfills the prophecy of Amos 8 and 11. Is it 9 and 11? It is 8 and 11, isn't it? Yeah. Amos 8 and 11, where there's going to be a famine of hearing the words of the Lord. The Lord said, teaching season's over, now comes the judgment. We're right at the door, man. Okay? We can see, because we got a prudent eye, man. We got a very keen eye for these prophecies, man. So the Lord it says, they shall make their tongue fall upon themselves. You know, they're snitching on their own nation, their own elites. All that see them shall flee away. So everyone that realizes that this man is the devil, you see him for who he really is, you're gonna flee away. You're gonna run away from them. You're gonna separate yourselves from them, as you should. The scriptures say, separate thyself from thine enemies and take heed of thy friends, man. So this is what we got to do: separate from our enemies. We already proved to you that your enemy, your number one enemy is Esau Edom, but you also the heathen, man. I quoted those scriptures earlier. It says, and all men shall fear and shall declare the work of the Lord, for they shall wisely consider of his doing. See? Because, when the Lord comes, it's going to be so far beyond what people have been told all their life, man. They're going to be raptured out of here. There's going to be an antichrist, and God loves all people. He just wants everybody to be saved, and this and that. That the devil has free will roaming around deceiving. No. They're going to wisely consider of his doing when all is said and done, right? So all men shall fear and shall declare the work of the Lord, for they shall wisely consider of his doing. It says the righteous shall be glad in the Lord, in Yahweh, and shall trust in him, and all the upright in heart shall glory. So this is, us that trust in the Lord. That's what we're gonna do in these end times. We're gonna be glad because the Lord is gonna keep his promise. He's going to protect us, regardless of all the accusations that Esau's throwing our way. He's not going to win. He's not going to have the victory. The elect will, okay, that were predestined to have the victory. So the righteous shall be glad in the Lord and shall trust in him, right? Because we're feeling this now. We ain't dropped out the truth because we are continuing to trust in him, because we're seeing him fulfill every promise that he said he was going to do, man. Every promise he made, he's fulfilling that. We're seeing the fall of our enemy. It says, and all the upright in heart shall glory. So, we're going to be shining in the end. Even Eve's going to realize that men are the prize. We don't get our glory, okay? Because right now, we're looking foolish. But anyway, not to go too off topic, I don't know, did I have any more clips to play? Oh yeah, there's one more I want to play. We might bring out one or two more scriptures, and then we'll close it out. So let's share screen window. This one. So share. That's
Friends, listen, what you're seeing right now is crazy.
We are crossing a line in human history where the boundary between reality and fiction is vanishing.
And this is not Hollywood billion-dollar high production studio. This is open source. This is from your computer, a click of a button, and most people will not be able to even tell the difference now. So be safe out there, question what you see, verify what you believe, and follow if you want to stay ahead of the curve. See you here. Friends, listen, what you're seeing right.
So this is where it's come to, what it's come to, man. Okay, this is how far the technology has come, and you got to understand that it was only about 2 years ago that the first AI video came out of Will Smith eating spaghetti, man looked through, right? But now we got this where they can make a man look like what's her name? Taylor Swift. Make a man look like Taylor Swift, and you can change the voice and everything. And this technology will be used just like they did with the Homeland Security did with the YN video, proving that they have no issues in using this to deceive the world, because the simple believeth every word, everything they see too. You know, Esau will see a video of the Hebrew Israelites doing something which is AI generated, and if it ain't got a tag on it that says Sora or something, they'll believe it, man. Okay, because for one, they want to believe it's true. And through the comment board, even after it's been proven that, you know, Homeland Security manipulated that video, it wasn't real, they ain't no one up there defending Jake on their comment boards, man. They're running with it because they want it to be true. They'd rather believe the lie, you know? So these people are biased as hell, and they're going to use this to accuse the prophets, man. When Esau comes down having great wrath upon us, basically, you know, when he wages war against the saints, he's going to use all kind of deceptive tactics to come against us, man. Okay, so take heed, man. This is where we're at. You know, the accuser of the brethren, man. Now, let's bring out one or two more scriptures. Isaiah 46. It's the last few precepts, and then we'll close out. The book of Isaiah, chapter 47. It says, "Come down," starting at 1. It says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground." Right? So the dust represents confusion, and Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, is America. It says, "Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans." And Chaldea was the capital, I believe it's the capital of Babylon, ancient Babylon, which represents America. Okay, it says, "For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate." You know, everyone's realizing America is the world's problem, man, and turning into what they like to call a shithole country. Now they're becoming the shithole third world country. It says, "Take the millstones and grind the meal, uncover the locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yeah, thy shame shall be seen." So this is the word of the Lord right here, and it will come to pass. It is coming to pass, actually. But everyone's starting to see America's nakedness, meaning it's shame. It's, you know, it's shameful history and stuff, man. The fact that they're sending all that money that should go to the farmers, they're sending it to Israel. They're realizing that these people, America is wicked. It says, "I will take vengeance," right? So the Lord is going to destroy America. America ain't getting away with their wickedness. "I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man," because he's coming back in a fathership, man. It says, "As for our Redeemer, Yahweh of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel," not the Holy One of the whole world, the Holy One of the Israelites. It says, "Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. I was wroth," meaning angry, "with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance." So the Lord, you know, destroyed us as a people, man. Turned us into YNs and single mothers and stuff, man. It says, "I've polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hands." So this is the reason why they rule over us, not because they're conquerors and they're better and they're stronger and they have a higher IQ. Ain't none of that. All right. The Lord gave us into their hands. It says, thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient, thou hast very heavily laid thy yoke. So they ain't show us no mercy, and they ain't getting no mercy either when we get out. We're like the dog in the cage, and they're poking us with a stick, laughing, pissing us off. And one day we're gonna get out that cage and get our lick back. And that day's coming very soon. It says, and thou saidst, I shall be a lady forever. See, that's why they're always saying, make America great again, build back better. They always think they're gonna be in power, but their pride has deceived them. It says, so thou didst not lay these things to thine heart, neither didst thou remember the latter end of it. Right? They didn't remember that, it ain't gonna end well for them, getting taken out of rulership. Therefore, hear now this, O thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that saith in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. This is what they say. They think they're always going to be in power. Boy, are they deceived. It says, but these two things shall come upon thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. See, because they got the whole world believing that the children of Israel are the world's problem, man. Just because a few YNs that they created that problem. They created the YN. Okay, they created the ratchet, loud, hyena, ghetto baby mama. They created that problem, man. So they're gonna have to deal with it. All right. Hey, we ain't got no dog in that fight. That's 2/3 versus the wicked. And that is going to be a bloody battle soon, man. It says, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness and hast said, none seeth me. See, they trust in this. They think that this is going to help them in their agenda, man. It says, and thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. And therefore shall evil come upon thee. This is Isaiah 47:11. Therefore shall evil come upon thee, and thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, and thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Because their kingdom is divided, and the Lord said, if a kingdom be divided against itself, it shall be brought to desolation.
Yeah, that's talking about the
roughly paraphrasing.
two-party system, like
Yeah,
Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah, they're Republican and Democrats. The two horns like a lamb. But they speak as a dragon.
That's why you see in that clip that we played with Donald Trump, where he was talking about we're going to kill all the
Democrats.
Democrats. You know what I mean? Not literally, but through the benefits and
cutting off the benefits.
Yeah, and the provisions that the Democrats have provided, they're going to shut that all off
in November. And he's speaking like it's going to be a permanent thing, man. So we'll see where this goes. But what Esau wants to do through this is use this as another way to accuse Jake. Shalom, GMS and his lightness. Yahweh Shimi Al Shai Barakatah, bro.
Yeah, shalom.
Good to see you as always, bro.
Shimi Al Shai Barakatah.
But what he's gonna do through this, the end of SNAP, the cutting off of these SNAP benefits, they know that through this, even if it was just a month, they know the reaction that it's going to cause, because you already got Jake all online talking about, I wish he would run up in Walmart and who's going to stop me? I'm gonna take what I'm gonna get my shopping one way or another. They're saying, right? And they knew that this was going to happen because they know how Jake is, right? And once that happens, they're going to be standing by with the cameras rolling, pointing the finger. See, look at them. They're going to use it as an opportunity to accuse us. Just like in Ferguson, is it Missouri? Ferguson, Missouri, when they had them riots and protests back in the day. I think it was it over? It wasn't over George Floyd, was it? It was something else. I forget, man. So many events have been taking place, but it was in Ferguson. There was protests, and people were looting, and they told they brothers were doing lessons on it like crazy. But basically, they were telling a couple years back, they were telling the police to stand down, let them loot, and the news crew was out there with their cameras, loving it, because it was an opportunity to point the finger and say, look at these animals. Because even though even though you have Edomites doing the same thing, their focus is on Jake. As long as Jake, if there's a couple Jakes doing it, that's the ones that, they're the problem, right? This devil's got to go, man. But he's going to use that same tactic, with this government shutdown, because they know that Jake is going to be looting them shots. And if there's one thing Edomites hate, is to see Jake out there looting. But Edomites are going to be in them same shoes soon, so they shouldn't be so damn proud. Where am I? Let's start at 12. Isaiah 47:12. Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. Yeah, they've always used propaganda and their witchcraft, their mental manipulation, because these people love to deal with psychology, that as they use psychology as a weapon, right? But the Lord is saying, stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. See, meaning ever since they came out the bottomless pit, came into power, and they went out to deceive the world. And that's why it says that they've labored that way from their youth. It says, if so thou shalt be able to profit, if so thou mayest prevail. But they're not going to prevail. Okay,
so that's basically like what I was saying to them. Well, show me all these enchantments that you rely on so heavily. Let's see how they save you. But obviously, like you say, they're not gonna prevail.
That's it. It's like the Lord mocking them, man, because it ain't written that they're gonna be healed or prevail or be, prophet. It says, Isaiah 47:13, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels, right? Esau's got a lot on his plate right now, man. It says, let now the astrologers and stargazers and monthly prognosticators, I always struggle with that, stand up and save thee from these things which shall come upon thee. See, call upon your idols, call upon Jesus, and your witchcraft. Call upon Baphomet, Bafi. Call upon Bafi to come help you, man. All right, see where that gets you. Ain't nothing stopping this. Esau's through. We're very, very close, man. It says, behold, they shall be as stubble. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before it. Thus shall they be unto thee, with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth. They shall wander every one to his quarter, and none shall save thee. So in a nutshell, Esau's through, because the day of doom is upon him. Okay, them nukes. I got one more scripture, actually.
I was going to bring out.
Oh yeah, Khan. If you bring out a preset, I'll dig this up while you do your thing there. Khan.
So yeah, that's why when you look at the book of Obadiah, you see that this dude's is finished. Let's see. Yeah, Esau's just a damn devil, man. You know what I mean? But he is. He's got, the story's got to play out the way the Lord has it played out. But I want to read in the book of Obadiah, verse 10. And this is why it says, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. And, the shame is getting to it. That's why he needs to come up with a plan to try and point Jake out to be the enemy.
You got the lower level Edomites that are ashamed of their history. They're trying, and you got the governments trying hard to hide their history through CRT and all that. But the ultimate shame comes when they're in chains, okay? Because then it's going to really sink in what they've done, and what their fate is. Because right now they're proud, they in the spirit of thinking they're not gonna see the loss of children, you know.
Yeah, yeah. 'Cause they're trying to get out of that judgment, but there is no escape. Also read in verse 15. I think it's verse 15. It says, for the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. Right? These Edomites understand that their judgment is coming. Right? That's why they're trying to beat prophecy. But it's all going to be flipped over and put on their heads. Like my brother said, they're going to learn shame when the realization sinks in. We messed up. You know what I mean? Like we effed up.
Yeah.
You know?
They ain't gonna get away with it.
They aren't getting away.
You know, because right now they think that, they're gonna get away with it because the Lord has been, long suffering with them. He's been patient.
Judgment hasn't been executed speedily.
Yeah.
So it's in the minds of the wicked to be doing evil, roughly paraphrasing.
Yeah. Let's see if we can find that real quick, man. Because I'm curious. Executed. Spell that right. Speed. This keyboard is absolutely shocking.
Shouting at King James Online.
What is the caps lock? 2. Okay. There we go. So Ecclesiastes chapter 8 verse 11, it says, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, right? So it looks like they're getting away with all the things that they're doing to us, man. All the accusations, all the Jim Crow, all the oppression, alligator bait, everything they've done, right? Continue to do in the ICE deporting, all of that. It just looks like they're winning, but the scriptures say the triumphing of the wicked is short, man. So that because the sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. So this is why they think, the Lord doesn't see. I pulled that up a minute ago, but I saw him go. We'll skip that. But yeah, man. I just want to bring out one more precept. Got an apocryphal. Let's go to listen. First Maccabees, I think. Switch to the standard. And there we go.
Eagles,
yeah. So this is First Maccabees. I think this might be the last precept we bring out because 2 hours now. First Maccabees 1 and 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. Now keep in mind this part of the Bible, the Apocrypha, right, was taken out of the scriptures because there's many reasons. It's very prophetic, and it also links the scriptures up with secular history because you got characters such as Alexander the Greek mentioned in the Holy Bible, right? It says, so Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, Alexander the Greek. It says, and his servants bare rule every one in his place, which were Edomites. It says, and after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves, meaning they came into power. They put crowns upon themselves, meaning they made themselves kings. It says, so did their sons after them many years. It says, and evils were multiplied in the earth. So when these people multiply, when they grow in population and power, you're going to find deception, you're going to find wickedness, because you got to understand Alexander the Greek is how they came back into power after they were impoverished. I read that in Malachi 1 and 4, whereas Edom saith we're impoverished. Edom is the so-called white man. We are impoverished, meaning I brought that definition up earlier, says that they were basically in a low place. It says, and powerless. It says, but we will return and build back better, make ourselves great again, right? in that same spirit today. But we will build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahweh have indignation forever. So, you know, they were once in a low place, but they came back into power through Alexander the Greek, and they put crowns upon themselves, okay, because the earth was quiet before them. I don't know,
I mean, for generals.
yeah.
That's
I think this is it here, isn't it? Went to the answer. Yeah, this is what I wanted. Right. So I'm gonna start here from the top, right? So this is First Maccabees 1:1, and it happened after Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, the king of the Persians and Medes. It says that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth. And this is how they put crowns upon themselves. It says, and went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him. See? So, you know, boy, that's a lot of death. These people are, you know, natural born genocidal maniacs, man. They're all about depopulation. Even to this day, it says, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. See? So, you know, they came out the bottomless pit, out the caves, out the Europe, and you know, went to deceive the nations. You know, the Lord allowed them to come back into power because he took them chains off of them. You know, I read that earlier in the book in what was it, Revelation 20, right? Read that earlier, that the Lord laid hold on a dragon, right? The old serpent, the devil, which is the devil and Satan, bound him 1,000 years, cast him into the bottomless pit, which is Europe, shut him up, and set a seal upon him that he shouldn't deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years would be fulfilled. After that, he must be loosed a little season, which we're at the end of his little season, which goes into Revelations 12:12. They ain't got long left, and they got loosed that little season, and when they got loosed, it goes into this right here, what we just read. You know, that Alexander reigned 12 years, then died, and his servants bear rule, everyone in his place. And after that, after his death, they put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. Okay, because, you know, the thing is, when let's see, wicked multiply. Here we go. Let's read this. Proverbs 29:16. It says, when the wicked are multiplied, transgression increaseth, but the righteous shall see their fall. So all kinds of deception and wickedness increases when these people gain more power and their population grows. When they spread across the earth like a green bay tree, and they come in and they increase in power and riches, that's when you see wickedness increase in the earth tenfold, basically, man. Okay. So, you know, expect nothing but deception from these people. That's who they are. They're the deceiver, the adversary, man, the devil. Okay. You know, they're the children of Satan, and they're going to use that technology to, you know, falsely accuse us and come against us soon, man. Okay, just like we read in Revelations chapter 12, 12 and 17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, Israelites, and went to make war with the remnant of the seed, okay, the elect, which keep the commandments of the Lord and have the testimony of Yahushua, which is the spirit of prophecy. We have that spirit of prophecy. And they're going to come up, they're going to focus their attention and come against us, and they're going to use their deceptive technology to do it. Okay, so brace yourself for that. But we already know what we signed up for. That's of the hopeful elect. And we're cool with that, man. So anyway, Lord willing, right? You've been edified by this lesson. We're going to close it out here. Unless you got something you want to bring out.
No.
All right. Going to give all honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah, Dash. Shalom. Shalom, Yashallah. Shalom, brothers.